can be reconstructed, that that curiosity, that helplessness, that glance and speech into the void, into nowhere. Machines cannot speak into nowhere. A human being can, specifically, meaningfully. A poem is speaking into nowhere, not what currently poetry is, in the social networks and even elsewhere. No, not that kind of poetry. The original poetic impulse, which great poets perfect, but it's there at the basic human level. Almost every person can do a poetic act or utter a poetic line. Children do it very well in their original way of communicating with the world, of interacting with the world through language, through uncorrupted language, through early and basic language. And what's the relation between basic and mature language? What's really the relation? It's not perfection. It's a very deep question. So AI can generate, is the word, generate poetry, but in a very, very, very sophisticated processing. It can take the old poetry that had ever been written and do something even more special. But a child that generates a poetic line didn't read poetry at all, let alone trillions of poems. And myself, or people like myself, ask questions without being trained in asking trillion of questions, without being bombarded with various kinds of questions about cooking, and questions about surgery, and questions about geology, and questions about space, and questions about sexual preferences, and questions about, I don't know, all of them questions. But they are not all questions. They may have the same form of a question, of seeking to get to the information which is unavailable at the moment of asking the questions. But they are not the same thing. Wondering about the universe and seeking for a certain species of an animal, or thinking what recipe to invent, or wishing to know whether how to make a person love you. Those are all, they have the form of a question, or they can be formulated as a question, but they are not the same things. So if you bombard a program with trillions of questions, you won't get, I don't know, I'm not a prophet, but it doesn't seem that you go on the right path to getting to bringing it to the point of it being able to ask questions like we do, like the intelligent Homo sapiens does. Yep, that seems really, really basic, and it's so regretful to hear so many allegedly smart people drawing those scenarios of the future of machines doing that and doing this and conquering that human field and that human capacity and that some things they will certainly already doing and will do better than us, like other animals do things better than us. But and I won't go into what is us, but the thing that makes us what we are. No, we don't need know, and it's unnecessary for the present discussion. Just even the simplest thing, just the being of now, of me asking, talking and asking, everything that happens now in me. Here I'm seeing my image, and I'm thinking on the smartphone screen, and I'm thinking, what's the relation between that image and my sense of myself right now? What's the relation between that image? I see that which I treat as myself, but obviously that's an image, that's a screen, and myself is not in the screen. So what's the relation? Apart from the history of how that object, the smartphone, was made up, and all the technology there which makes it possible that what is now happening, me to see myself, my image. No, not on that level. That I understand, but that doesn't answer the question. Because after the smartphone was built and made and to operate as it does, still there is me and there is the image. And the camera captures something. The camera depicts, and my something in me makes it possible to interpret, even perceive again, that which happens within that object in a way that I see the image. But still there is the image and there is myself. And again, language, the image is language, myself is language, is language. But the important thing is this relation, the question about this relation. Everything that made this relation possible, in general and at that moment now when I'm standing here and speaking to the camera. All that everything that made it possible. What relation does it have to what they call today AI? I cannot claim to answer this question, certainly not in a definitive way. But it seems to me that it has nothing to do with it. Nothing. There's much more to be said about what smart machines do, AI, and who we are. Who we are, what we are. This the interface of who and what we are. There is an interface. Only in language? I think not. That's enough for now. I'm happy that those cranes or whatever birds they were inspired those reflections in me. I'm happy I've sounded them. I spoke them, to the camera, and maybe I recorded that, because those are thoughts that circle within me all the time in my interaction with the environment, with the world. I ask myself the question about that triangle: me, it, and everything that is in between. Me, from my perspective. Me. Whatever. Those are serious questions. That's all.